So I got requested to show how to do a daisy stitch, and it's a needle knit stitch that has a little flower texturing to it. Okay, and it's actually not as hard as you think. Okay, it's a 4-row repeat, so you're going to repeat the same 4 rows. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to do a cast on of increments of 4 with an extra one on the ends. Okay, so this is my extra. All right, but you want to do increments of 4. So what you want to do is you want to double E-wraps. You want to wrap the peg twice, toss the loop over. Okay, then you're going to wrap the peg twice, toss the bottom loop over, wrap the peg twice, toss the bottom loop over. All right, then you're going to knit 1. Okay, so that's kind of your 4 stitch repeat there. Double E-wrap for 3 and knit 1. So wrap 1 twice, wrap 2 twice, wrap 3 twice, toss the bottom loops over, then knit 1. I'll show you again one more time. Double wrap, double wrap, double wrap 3 times. Okay, toss the bottom loops over, and then knit 1. All right, this is row 1. Now we're going to go to row 2. All right, so what you want to do is you want to release those stitches. So I usually like to release them find my single stitch, put it there, release. I like to move that stitch over because what we're wanting to do is stack these. So you're going to take that far stitch, you're going to move it over, and you're going to pick this up, move it over, and then stack them. Okay, and you want to stack them in order, and the reason being is that's how they're going to be knitted on needles. All right, so what you want to do now is you want to go behind that stitch, that peg, and then you want to go in and do a traditional knit. So take and stick the hook all the way up through all 3, pull the working yarn through, grab it, put it on that empty peg, yarn over with a wrap of that stitch. So you've done that, and then you're going to wrap it around, and then you're just going to knit all 3 of those stitches over. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pick up that yarn over and that stitch you just created, show your working yarns out of the way, and you're going to place those there. And you basically just replace the 3 stitches that you just maneuvered around. And then you want to go in and tighten up those stitches, okay? Creates a nice clean line. So then what you want to do is you want to purl that single stitch. Okay, so you're just going to purl that stitch. All right. Now you want to repeat the same process where you release the stitches. Okay, and stack it on top of that one. There is a lot of maneuvering around. Okay, so you're going to take that last one, you're going to put it on bottom. Then you're going to put this one next. Then you're going to put that first one next. I'm going to pull it. So you want it stacked in the way that you would send this through, all right? So you're going to take that working yarn behind that empty peg, okay? Let's see if we can get this focused. You're going to take the working yarn behind that empty peg, all right? Then you're going to send the hook up and all three, and you're going to bring that working yarn down in a traditional knit, grab it, and put it on that previous stitch. You're going to yarn over by wrapping around. So wrap around, and then you're just going to knit, pick up all three of those stitches and just knit it over. Okay. Then you're going to lift that up and lift that one up. Make sure your working yarn is out of the way. Place there, and then put that yarn over in the middle. Make sure you go in and tighten up your stitches so they look nice and neat. Then you're going to purl that single stitch. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to release again. Release. Place on top. And release. Place first on that middle. Then this comes next. That comes next. And what I like to do is just do a tug, which evens out the stitches. All right. You're going to take the working yarn behind that empty peg. You're going to send the hook up all through three stitches. Traditionally knit, so send it through. Take and put that on the previous stitch, peg that's empty. Yarn over and simply knit off. Okay, then you're going to lift up that yarn over stitch, lift up that stitch that you just knitted over, and then you're going to go in and you're going to tighten up those stitches so they look nice and clean, and then purl the last stitch. Okay. Now, you have to stagnate this. How to keep in mind is that your single purl stitch will need to be your middle. Okay, so you know you just work with these through. That was your single purl stitch. It now needs to be your middle. So what you're going to do is you're going to knit three. So here's 1, 2, and 3. All right, now you're ready to start the pattern again, where you wrap 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 times. Knit it over. Then knit 1. Okay. Then you're going to wrap around twice, 3 times. And you're going to toss the bottom loops over. And you're going to knit 1. Now when you get to the end, because you're staggering, you're just going to knit those stitches over. Okay. Now this works up a bit differently if you're doing it flat. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go ahead and purl those stitches. Alright, so we're going to purl 3. And this is row 4 of our 4-row repeat. Okay. So, release. And release. Pick up, move over. And release. Gotta re-glue these pegs back down. Okay. You move that over, make that the first one. Move that over, make that the second one like it's supposed to be. Stack them right. So if you're doing this in the round, what you might would realize is you're just trying to stack them in order. Okay? And that will keep it where it's supposed to be. Alright. So take that working yarn behind that empty peg. I'm going to send the hook up all through 3 stitches and then traditionally knit, pull through, wrap it, toss the 3 loops over. Okay. Then you're going to pick that up, that one up. Make sure your working yarn's out of the way. Place the stitches in order. Placing the stitches in order is important. Okay. Then you're going to purl 1. Alright. Again, we're going to release. Release. Move over. Release. Move over. And stack them in order. You've got to remember the stack is important in order, okay? So that's going to keep consistent with the lean from the needle knit patterning, okay? Now, send the working yarn behind that empty peg. Send the hook up through all 3 stitches. Send through like a traditional knit. Place over, wrap, and then toss over. Okay. Then you're going to pick up that yarn over and the stitch you just made and move them in order, stacking them. Tighten up the stitches. Okay. And then purl your way to the end. Alright? Now if you're doing this circularly, the flow is a little easier. It's a stacking kind of thing. Alright. So those are your 4-row repeats, and that's how you do it flat. And what you should get is something that looks like this. Like little flowers. Okay? And this is a translation from needle to loom on a stitch patterning. They have a 5 gather, but it's going to be too spacious, and if you were going to do 5 gather, you would want to do it on a 1/4 inch cage. But it's the same concept, okay, of what we were doing, okay. And if you're doing it circularly, what you need to remember is that you want to stack it from the furthest to be the bottom, middle in the middle, and this one on top. So whichever direction you're going to, your furthest needs to be on the bottom when you're doing that, okay? If you're doing it circularly. Your offset is going to be a knit 3, and then you're going to do that, and you're not going to have those excessive pearls on the end if you're doing it in the round, okay? So once you get the basic concept of how it's done flat, you can kind of go in and do a general maneuver to make it in the round, okay? But that is how you do the daisy stitch.